Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today it's going to be a match between Brain and Terror here on Fighting Spirit for my Patreon cast of the week of November the 18th. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so here we are on Fighting Spirit. The bottom left-hand corner is Brain under his Smurf name C.KH, or maybe it was his actual name that he changed his name to Brain sometime. The white Protoss player, and in the bottom right is the red Zerg player. It is going to be Terror, with his well-known Smurf name 1A, 2A, 3A. Man, the APMs here. Just, you know, warming up your fingers so that they're ready to move that fast when you actually need them. Let's see if Brain scouts the right way after this pylon. Come on, Brain, scout the right way. And he does! Wait, hold on. Is he scouting cross position? Okay. Nope. Okay. He is scouting the correct way. And if Bisu were doing this Zerg would be dead already. He just wouldn't know it yet. So here we go. Here we go. It is a 9-pool opening here from Terror. Which is good. Because if... never mind. It's not a gateway first here. I was going to say, if it was a gateway first, and Brain decided to send across Zealots, like 1 or 2 at a time until the Zerg died, 9-pooling is the way to go there, but you have no idea what's coming, so if your 9-pool saves you, then that was just blind luck. Sometimes there is a lot of luck in StarCraft, I can tell you that. But it's just a Forge first play here. A Forge into a Nexus, I'm going to assume. Maybe a Cannon first, because he saw that 9-pool. And the probe's like, okay, how many Lings are going to come out? And this is an 11-hatch follow-up here from Terror. So just, you know, pretty much a standard ZVP build. Nothing too crazy here from Terror, as he is wont to do. And yeah, so Cannon first. Excellent. Into 2 pairs of Zerglings on the way. 3 pairs of Zerglings on the way. This is the probe's job. The probe's job is to say how many Lings are coming out of these eggs. Is it 2? Is it 4? Is it 6? Is it 8? It'd be crazy if there was 8. You'd have to wait for the second, or the next larva to spawn before you could do that. But definitely doable to get 8 Lings out here this early. So we see 1, 2, and we see 3, 4. And at this point, you're probably okay with 1 cannon. I do like throwing up the gateway in front of it, though. That really messes up Ling's ability to get us around on this thing. And then if you need to, just go ahead and maybe bring over some probes here. Trying to lead them away to the top right, but the Lings are not fooled. The Lings are not fooled because the Overlord came over here and scouted. He scouted the right direction, too. Thank you very much. Is this not walled? Sometimes something looks like a wall and it's not. Look at this probe just sacking. Oh no, Lings got inside the house. Alright, so these are not technically Jaedong Lings, but these are definitely 2 Zerglings inside of Brain's base at the 3-minute mark, which he does not want. There's no way to kill these things until a Dragoon comes out. Oh, I lied! Unless maybe one of your probes is awesome and totally murders that Zergling for creeping on him like that. That was great! Man, third base coming up at 3 minutes. Yep, pretty much all standard stuff here. This could be Jaedong. Right? This could just totally be a Jaedong style play. Terror is that good at Zerg that this early game is looking extremely solid from him. Oh, this Ling is in. There's a probe chasing. What's your further tech going to be? Well, you don't even have a cyber core yet. So yeah, that's why you take the third. You recognize, okay, there's not even a cyber core coming up at this point. There's no way it's anything but Zealots. We can handle that with Sunkens and Zerglings if we need to. No Dragoons are going to be coming. No Corsairs are going to be coming anytime soon. So let's get that third up. Then let's get the lair started. And everything is going great for Terror so far, I gotta say. So this is starting out to be a pretty good game if you are a Zerg fan. I mean, obviously, no probes have died. Well, actually, 1 probe died because it ran up here and tried to lead the Lings away. So 1 probe died, which is annoying. And sure, a random Zealot shows up and he's going to force some more Lings out. Which, annoying, but by no means game ending here at all. Drones are fighting, but another set of Lings pops almost in the perfectly nick of time. And the Zealot goes down. Just a bit of harassment, just enough to force Terror to make, you know, more than the Zerglings he's made already. He really wants to spend that larva and spend those minerals on drones. So far, so good. You expand on the low ground against a Protoss player here on Fighting Spirit instead of the high ground against Terror and its high ground. You put lurkers at the ramp. But here you throw up Sunkens and maybe Evolution Chambers and Hydralisk Den in front of it. And then the oncoming Zealot attack is not going to get as much done. Did that Ling get killed? Ah, that's embarrassing. Ah, okay. So never mind. It's not Jaedong Lings at all. This is just Terror Lings. Which is fine. It's annoying, but it's fine. Where did this guy come from? Honestly, though. This guy comes out of nowhere, and Terror's like, did he, like, teleport in? Is this StarCraft 2? Can you warp in units anywhere on the map? I hate Protoss so much. No, that's not what it is. He walked. But he was sneaky about it. Yeah, this is kind of Bisui. Show up when your Zerg player does not expect the Zealots to show up. They will hate their life. It'll throw them off. They won't have any Sunkens up yet because they'll expect you to show up with like 10 Zealots instead of 2. And then you can get some good, get some good trades in. It's not about winning the game. It's about getting good trades and forcing the Zerg player to make extra Zerglings when they don't want to. Man, I've had someone do this to me on ladder before. It sucks. I'm not nearly as good as Terror is, though. I'm not as good as deciding when to make drones and when to tech up and when to make Zerglings. The Zealots just basically kept me on my toes. I barely was able to get Sunkens up, a couple Sunkens up, and some Lings up, and more Zealots kept coming in all the time, and the micro was incredible, and then by the time I was ready to counterattack, there was like Storm and Archons and a fully saturated 2-base Protoss, and I totally died. Never able to get a 3rd base up at all. It's rough stuff. That's why Terror is the guy that I'm casting instead of myself here. My games are sad because StarCraft is a hard game. Anyway, Hydralisk Den coming in. There is already a Spire, and there's already a set of Scourge coming in here too, because that's a Stargate, and because that's a Corsair, and this is all stuff you're going to expect from a ZVP. Lurker aspect on the way from Terror, getting DTs from Brain. So far, yeah, this has been pretty standard, other than the bit of the Zealot harass that kind of threw Terror off his game a tiny bit. He's alright. He's at 32 drones. He's got 3 bases. He's going to be prepared for an oncoming Zealot or DT onslaught. Did this guy just get 4 kills? That DT just got 4 kills! This is why you throw up a cannon inside your main base, because these Scourge will sit over the Stargate and watch for Corsairs to pop and then kill them instantly. However, just the one Corsair. Not going for the multi-Corsair play, are you, Brain? Not today. Not today at all. So you don't need a crazy number of anything, honestly, against one Dark Templar. Also, the Zealot, there's just no Zealot count, right? The Zealots that Brain made, he sent across already. They got some damage done, and then they died. So this is an interesting play out of Brain. No lot of Corsairs, definitely a couple DTs. I don't know. I really don't see enough to put a ton of fear into Terror right now. I mean, maybe you can shut down his 3rd base. It's the only Corsair I think that's going to be made. We could see Brain move into some more Corsair production later on in the game, but if he's not making them now, he's not planning on having a nice Corsair group later into the game. So what this means is, or at least in the mid-game, which this means is you could actually go Mutas here. I would feel pretty good about a Muta tech switch, but it seems like Terror is just content to go for those Hydras, go for the Lurkers, deal with the Storm as it comes, and then tech into Defilers at some point later on. I'm just telling you, anytime your opponent has a Corsair running around, and it might have actually gotten caught and killed. Yeah, probably tried to juke and the Scourge took it down. 4th base on the way from Terror now. And there's your 3rd base. So warping in, finally able to get enough Zealots up to defend it against the oncoming Ling onslaught. Terror is probably, I don't know what's he going to do here. There's not really a position you can set up. Storm is done. Like, you have to be aware that Storm is done. And even if you don't necessarily have Dragoons, like, the Storm does just fine, thanks, at shoving Lurkers away from where they want to be. Zerglings getting a probe. Really don't want to engage with this many Zealots for sure, but maybe this Lurker does. So the Lings all sacrifice themselves to allow the Lurkers to get into position where they want to be, and suddenly this is kind of amazing. Look, he's got Overlords here to detect if Observers show up, and then the Scourge will take down the Observer. This is so good. This is why you want Corsairs. The Corsairs can come in and clear out these Scourge, clear out the Overlords, and then suddenly this Lurker attack at the 3rd base doesn't do anything. Oh, the Overlords, they have reign. They have reign over this map. This is so frustrating. It's gotta be so frustrating for Brain right now. Terror is just like 600 IQing it here. Alright, we're gonna wander this way, and we have an Observer now. We're gonna kill one of the Lurkers fairly easily, but there it goes, sniped! It gets sniped, but guess who knows where it is? Who knows where the lurker is? Maybe don't stand right on top of it, Senior High Templar guy. Man, that High Templar could have gotten sniped by that lurker if the lurker wasn't so, like, directly focused on trying to kill that Nexus. Oh, and he does take it down. All right. Took some hits there when he was burrowing. Sorry about that. The cabling on my microphone is just really loose recently. I need to see if I can tighten that up. Is that another observer snipe? It sure is. Who doesn't get observers today? Brain. Brain does not get observers today. Oh, Mutalisk is on the way. Big old probe transfer getting escorted by this Zealot Archon play, which is amazing against Zerglings. Like, Zealot Archon will massacre Zerglings in good numbers. Well, that's why we have some Hydras. That's why you've got some of them Lurkers and 2 Mutas. So, I mean, it's not really committing to Mutalisks here. He just wants to couple. Although, to what purpose, I don't know. 2 Mutalisks don't seem to hold much utility. Oh, that Archon. Don't get surrounded, though. Oh, gosh, and the Lurkers, too. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, he knows the damage on the Nexus was big. And he does take down the Nexus. That's humongous. Terror. The absolute beast. Taking down that 3rd Nexus. Throwing Brain back into the 2-base Stone Age. While you got your 4th base up. This seems exceptionally good for Terror. That base snipe was huge. It didn't cost him that much. He didn't, like, run 8 Lurkers in there and they all died. He ran 12, 10 Zerglings in there, and they all died, yes. But a lot of other people got home. Lurkers got out of there. Like an Observer just, or an Overlord just died. And look at this double expand play. Brain's like, all right, look, that sucks. I lost my 3rd base, but if I double expand, I can be fine. As long as Terror doesn't somehow take a 5th base between, you know, now and later. Dude, this Mutaflock, it's 3. It's like... He's just squeezing out individual Mutalisks here. Oh, never mind. He's got a bunch over here. Yeah. See, you can go Mutas now, because guess who doesn't have any Corsairs on the field at all? It's Brain. It's always interesting to get a ZVP wherein Mutas are actually kind of viable. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they're actually viable when there's not a giant Corsair group out on the floor here. Yeah, this sucks. Like, this is why Corsairs were invented. Is because in StarCraft 1, Protoss were losing to this every time. Like, Zerg would just build a million Mutalisks, and then everything would die. And Blizz was like, you know what you guys... You know what you guys need is some kind of splash damage. Ooh, 5th base canceled. Drone sees the Zealot army coming in. But he abandoned the 4th base to do it. Why would you make that trade? Don't trade your 4th base to stop a 5th base. That didn't make any sense. I disagree with that choice, Brain. I just do. 121 to 104 total supply. Terror is up at 13 minutes, which is where you want to be. He's got a Defiler Mound. He immediately starts Consume. And an Ultralisk Cavern's on the way, too. This feels like a Plague-style army. It's largely Gateway stuff, not a lot of Archons. And yeah, this just feels like Terror kind of outclassing Brain here today. I mean, it's not over. I'm not going to be the one to tell you it's over at the 13-minute mark because that's ridiculous. Storms are good. Dragoons trade really well against Mutalisks too. Archons with +2 attack, great against Mutas and Zerglings, which is largely what we're seeing here out of Terror. Additionally, Archons are pretty impervious to the spellcasters. Right? They do not care about Dark Swarm. They do not care about Plague. So having Mass Archon can really only be countered. Ooh, some Scourge carelessly die there. By a ton of Hydras. But you don't want to make a ton of Hydras because Zealot Dragoon wrecks that. It's a balancing act for everybody involved here is what it is. Yeah, I mean, those Mutas just dying. That's a 19 kill Archon, Sally. 20 kill Archon, 21 kill, okay, he's dead. But holy crap, that was bonkers. My brain wanted to say bonkers and bananas at the same time. Another 5th base attempt for Terror down here at the 6 o'clock. That's not happening. Insofar, well, maybe. I don't know, Lurker's defending. Oh, the Storm was, oh, the Defiler. Okay, never mind, Brain shutting it down. Let's do the Archon dance, these High Templars say. I don't mind if I do, says the other one. Okay, so I think that was a stalemate. A lot of Zerg units died. A lot of Protoss units died. Yeah, that's a lot of lurkers with some Ling buffering too. That makes it really hard for Brain to get in here. And if he can hold on to this base while keeping Brain on 3, I don't know if that's even possible though. There is a lurker and six Lings here to defend against this onslaught. This is why your Zerg though is because your units are fast. You can get here fast to defend this, or retreat fast if it turns out you can't defend this. Defiler, run! Why are you sitting here? Oh, I think he could have made it out if he had run, but he chose not to. I think you're fine, though. Terror, again, still up a base. He's losing a hatchery here, but fine. And the problem is there are no High Templar at the 3rd. Are you kidding me? Ultras are out. I mean, Storm isn't exactly what you want against Ultras, but it does pretty well. At least it ignores armor, and anything that ignores armor is going to do pretty well against Ultras. Zealots holding the ramp. They know they need to keep this base alive if they're going to stay in this game. Oh, 3 Ultralisk. Okay, got absolutely no kills whatsoever. 1 attack, 2 armor on the Zerglings. 2 attack, 1 armor on the Zealots. With +3 attack on the way. Anabolic Synthesis coming in for the Ultras. And, wait, I was going to say, are we setting up... looks like C's going to try to take his 4th base at the 6 o'clock. Just building on the corpse of Terror's attempt at the 5th base. Wait until that creep is gone and then throw it down. That's right, Probe. Throw it down. Archon count getting a little bit dicey. A little bit high. 5th base attempt at the 12 o'clock for Terror. We've seen this base be very important in ZVPs on this map many a time before. It seems it's far away for pretty much everyone. If you can sneak an army up there and wipe it out, it's hard to defend. I guess that's why you have Nidus Canals. And honestly, tossing a Nidus Canal up here as soon as possible would be a genius idea. Out of Terror. Free Defiler! Oh, is that the second? Is that the second Defiler that we've seen go down? It kind of seems like it is. This is just some ridiculous abject chaos underneath that Dark Swarm. It is so dark. Can't really tell what's going on, but the Ultras are kind of face-mashing in here against the Archons. The Lurkers are stabbing away, enough to make Brain back off just a little bit. Overlord, a little bit too careless. Dude, a Plague would be great. Have we even researched Plague? I'm not convinced that we have. I feel like we would have seen it tossed down by now. Some Ling Ultra. That is so much Archon, though. So this is happening. Dark Swarm wears off. Another Dark Swarm comes up. And that's Brain's indication that he probably wants to get out of here. But guess who's blocking the exit? Ultralisks. And Zerglings. Several Dragoons die there. A couple Archons get popped as well. And it looks like C is going to lose his 4th base. So 5th base done for Terror. Absolutely no income happening there whatsoever, which is not great. But it represents potential at least. Dude, it's 184 to 107 supply. Okay. We're going to go ahead and say that Terror is up in this game. Ultra smashing face into that. Dark Swarm coming up unnecessarily. An attempt at getting a 6th base gets canceled at the 3 o'clock position. So, I mean, C's doing an alright job preventing Terror from expanding everywhere. It's just that Brain has been entirely unable to take a 4th base today. He's tried here, failed. He's tried here, failed. Well, was alive for like 3 minutes. We'll give it that. Three more Ultras on the way. I don't see it. I'm trying to look for a path forward here for Brain. And maybe it's just superior upgrades. He's got +3 attack. The Ultras are only on +1 attack, but they do have the 6 armor. That is so many Archons. Like, this is classic mass Archon versus Ultra style stuff. Storm coming in all over the place. Ultras getting just blown to pieces. Dark Swarm up, and again, the Archons don't like it very much, even though, I don't know, it shouldn't bother them immensely when there's Dark Swarm. And these are some really good thumbnails. Right here, just mass Archon versus mass Ultralisk. Brain really smashing face in here, and look at this. He's even got Lings making sure that Brain doesn't try to retake the 4th base along the left side. He's not really covering this at all, but I don't know that it really matters. Yeah, Brain's like, well, I'm probably not getting in there. Let's head north. Let's get chased by Ultras because they're actually faster than us when they have anabolic synthesis, so we can't necessarily run away from them. And if they want to attack our flank, they totally can whenever they want. What a terrifying... Can you imagine? You're just like wandering across the battlefield and you hear this... An Ultra is just roaring in the distance, getting closer all the time. Remember how I talked about this space being important? This space is kind of important. I don't... Okay, it doesn't really seem like Brain's going to get an army up here anyway. A lot of Lings are dying. The splash... Okay, alright. Zealots coming up to support from the south. That's a lot of dead Ultras, but guess... Oh my gosh! But the Ultra train! There's too much! There's too many of them, says Brain. And he is in so much trouble. 170 to 100 supply. I like how he did manage to somehow clear out these Lings, or perhaps they got sent somewhere else. Oh, Zealots did wander up into the 12 o'clock. Look at them going to town on everything. Apparently no response from Terror is warranted. He really just wants this 4th base to not happen. And that's what he's going for here. That is, everything gets canceled. This probe is trying to hide. Well, it's throwing up a pylon, not super hiding. And yeah, some drones died here, but it's still 68 workers to 45. Again, we're at 3 bases at 20 minutes for the Protoss. Not good. Even considering he has more cost-efficient units than the Zerg player does, this is really bad news. The 3 o'clock base has been taken, and here comes Terror. One thing Terror does not want to do here is just mash his face into an entrenched Protoss position with Storm Archons and Zealots and Cannons. It seems, however, that is what he's going to do. Ah, there are even Reavers here now. Big hits. Big hits. Dark Swarm. Consume. Getting tossed down all over the place. Another Dark Swarm is up. And yeah, everything the Zerg player has is melee. He's fine with it. Okay, so Reaver down. Trying to do some fancy Reaver Micro, but when there are 7 Ultras out, your fancy Reaver Micro is probably not going to be enough to save you, I don't think. Okay, well, that Ultra got taken down, and the bridge is held. It's 163 to 84 supply. It is a better position for Brain than it's been in some time after that failed attack from Terra. And that's what I'm talking about. The one thing Terra does not want to do is make a series of bad trades attacking into an entrenched splash damaging Protoss. If he does that, he's going to be able to give, well, he's going to give an advantage to the Protoss that he really doesn't want to give. He expanded up here, and the Zerg player didn't know, or he let him. I think this drone tried to expand and was like, alert, hey everyone in range of this message. There's a Protoss base in the top left. It's a 4th base, and you know how we feel about 4th bases, don't you? And the Ultras said yes in their Ultra voice, and the Nexus goes down. Zealot counterattack over here at the... I mean, this is a 6th base is the problem. And sure, you're going to get the 6th base, but you're still on 3, and Terror is still on 5. The numbers still do not work for you at all. Good snipe, though. Like, getting those... Again, sneaking Zealots across the map is not easy. They're 3-1-3 Zealots. They're just running away from Zerglings casually. That speed upgrade is pretty good. Look who just went into Hydra, though, all of a sudden. Like, you want to make a lot of Archons? You know what? Go for it. You can make a bunch of Archons. We'll make 1,000,000 Hydralisks and eat you for dinner. Although the Reavers, you know, have something to say about that. They are pretty good at removing large clumps of Hydralisks, but it's 200 to 106 supply. Terror's macro has just been phenomenal here. Positively phenomenal. Oh, Manor Hatches. Terror. Terror, you absolute... Terror, no. Don't do this. What are you Manor Hatching for? Well, Falcon, because I'm on 5 bases. My Protoss opponent is on 3. And has been on 3. Has been unable to get a 4th base because I've been denying him constantly. So I think Manor Hatches are warranted. I feel like Brain should get out of this game. How do you even... He must have dropped them. He must have dropped drones in here. He did not get them through the front door. Is this Terror just outclassing Brain entirely? Top left-hand base, 4th base again for what feels like the 8th time today. And in general, I like the compositional choices that Brain is making here. Zealots, Archons, Storm, Reavers. It's gonna be good against this. The problem is, when you're outnumbered in supply by a 2-to-1 margin, bad things happen to you. The shuttle got like that. The shuttle got taken down that had Reavers in it. Maybe one Reaver, because there's a Reaver on the ground, but that's going to get wiped out. Probably. Coming up this ramp is just going to be fairly impossible. Again, with Ultras at your back door. This Reaver's alive. I like the idea of this one Hydralisk taking down this Reaver by itself, because it can tell all of its other little Hydralisk friends what it did today. But then a Dark Templar. Oh, Dark Templar ruined the narrative. Top left base taken. Still being taken, actually. Is he sneaking this? You think he's sneaking it? Dude, the long distance mining here on 43 probes is just rough. It is the roughest of stuff, man. So Reaver down thanks to Hydras. Archons did take down an Ultralisk. Remember what I said about Hydras? Yeah, they trade ridiculously well against Archons. That is your answer. If you're losing to Mass Archon as a Zerg player, by golly, make a bunch of Hydras and you'll trade very well. So is he just going to allow this base to exist? He has to know this is here. He can't just assume there's nothing up here. Terror! Terror, perhaps. Perhaps your arrogance shall be your undoing, Terror. Observer snipe. There's almost nothing defending the front door. I mean, this might just be a time to attack the front door. My goodness, if there was a High Templar here, I'd feel better about this for the Protoss, but there's not. That said, Terror decides that's not a fight he wants to take, and there is a Reaver back there, so sure. I can understand that. There's some idle drones up this way. I assume they were hiding from Zealots and things previously, but they really got to get back to work. Is Terror just being lackadaisical in his approach in this game? Terror's EVP is some of the best. Some of the best we've seen. It's just he is so good at this matchup. He even has a lot of drones just kind of idly mining gas here and waiting their turn to mine gas. I cannot believe that he's allowed this 4th base to come up. Is this Terror just... I have to imagine he doesn't know it's there, because he has, with extreme prejudice, destroyed every other 4th base. Every other 4th base that we've seen today, and maybe he just knows it doesn't matter. Maybe he just knows, oh, hang on, 12 o'clock base wiped out. I mean, for someone who's been really behind for most of this game, Brain has killed several hatches. It's not easy to do. But there's a free Reaver, and there's a free robotics facility, and coming up this ramp is not generally advised behavior. But you know what? There's only a couple Dragoons up here. That's not a huge deal. Zealots are running around trying to get stuff done. So this is mined out. And that's only 2 bases of income here for Terror versus a 1 base. Okay, the Overlord sees this now. So he knows the Overlord is here. He's going to defend it with cannons. Meanwhile, dude is... Okay, I was going to say, is Brain kind of holding here? The answer is no. Not with this many Lurkers and Ultras and Hydras. What a composition. It's all very gas heavy, but it's all very strong regardless. There's 2 Overlords now. We're just keeping an eye on you. You know, if you... This cannot possibly be a game where Brain loses his main base and wins the game. Could it? Could it possibly be what we're seeing? Oh, the drops. You defend your front door. Who needs front doors? Says Terror. I can fly, sucker. And I think that's it. That's your done. That's your income for Brain. He is out on his face today. I think Terror was just in control from the jump. I mean, I did think that Brain's little early Zealot attacks were good. They were an attempt at throwing Terror off his game. really doesn't seem like that's what happened, though. And just never getting a 4th base. Never getting a 4th base was brutal. Look at him replanting it. Like, just... he cleans it up. Man, I gotta stop making assumptions. I thought everything Zerg up there would be fine, but no. Remember what I said about Zealots and Hydras? Nom, 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 nom. It's the back and forth, baby. Oh, that is a free Ultra list, though. I think you can kill those Ultras, but also I think you can probably take down this hatch with your upgrades. Maybe. Look at the... got it. Okay, so the 12 o'clock dies. This Nexus is actually sort of coming up. Look, Brain, I really appreciate your stick-to-itiveness in this game. I admire it immensely. I am very proud of you for getting this Nexus back up. That's incredible. You actually have income, and it's a one-base to one-base scenario, which, if you had even army supply, would be great. But you don't. It's 161 to 44 total supply here. Yes, 70 of that is in workers for terror, but the math still does not add up at this point. Yeah, alright. Remember what I said about the 4th base? It's just lurkers, man. He doesn't have +3 attack on these. It's +1 attack and +3 armor, and that's all you need. So, again, it just kind of feels like a long, slow, drawn-out death here for Brain, unfortunately. Sometimes that's what happens in StarCraft, man. But the fact that he's been able to fight and scratch and claw his way to 32 minutes against a terrifying terror whose name is Terror is pretty good. Terror has some things to say. Maybe you should leave? Trying to hold the ramp with the probes body blocking. This is the most drawn out I've seen a player be like, I'm not GGing. That I haven't seen it this drawn out in a long time. If Young Sin, says Brain, and taps out. Okay. Well, that was an experience. Again, I'm just impressed. I'm impressed with Brain and his decision to stick with it in the face of overwhelming odds in the form of Terror. Terror got a little lackadaisical. Got a little BM throwing up his macro hatches or his manor hatches here inside Brain's base, but at the end of the day, it's all good, man. It worked out for him in the end. Bad manor or not. 284,000 points for Terror, 257 for Brain, 178,000 points here in total units produced and lost and killed. Terror looking good. 61 Protoss buildings raised is a lot of buildings raised for a Zerg player for sure. And then just this income tab alone tells us the game. It's just too many bases. Too much base, too much income. Brain tried to be cost efficient. It was not enough. And that's it. Okay, well that right there is going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered and a Patreon cast. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.